Imagination knows no bounds, and with stable diffusion, the possibilities are infinite. With each passing day, our wildest visions are coming to life, painting a mesmerizing tapestry of creativity. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will talk about regional prompter extension in Stable Diffusion and how you can install it on Stable Diffusion to create amazing images. This extension allows you to enter different prompts for different sections of the images so that you can mix very different images into one creation, like you saw at the start of this video. If you want to follow along, you will require Stable Diffusion installed on your system and also ControlNet. I have made separate videos to do both, link of which I will share in the description. So let's get started. So first we need to install regional prompter. So we are in Stable Diffusion now. We will go to extension. We will go to available. We will click on load from and search for regional prompter and click on install. So installation process is complete. We'll go to install tab and here we can see regional prompter. Then click on apply and restart UI. So we are in text to image tab and here we can see regional prompter drop down. So I will be creating the same image that I showed you in the beginning. And to do that, first I will upload an image on ControlNet. So I will be using this image as the base. So we have to understand that if I want to create an image which is half of something and half of other, then I have to ensure that the picture I am using in ControlNet has a straight face and straight body, or else the result you will get will not be appropriate. I will be using open pose model here because I just need to copy the pose of the subject of this particular image. I will click on pixel perfect. And then I will select my prompt is more important. Now let's understand the various options that you have in regional prompter. So to use regional prompter, first we have to click on this checkbox. We will activate it. There are two generation modes, attention and latent. I am getting good results with latent generation mode, so I will be using this. Next text box we have over here is called base ratio and it is set at 0.2 by default. To understand this, first we have to understand what a base prompt is. So first I will entering the prompt that I will be using. I am using Rev animated model over here, which is very good for animations. I will share the link of this model below in the description. So if you want, you can download it. It's available for free. So this is the prompt that I will be entering. So you can see a slight difference in the way prompt is entered over here. So the first line of it is called the base prompt. So what is base prompt? Base prompt is something that applies to the whole image. And after you enter the base prompt, you enter the break keyword and this break keyword should be in all caps. If you enter this in small, this prompt will not work. After this, the next line of prompt, which in our case represents an Indian princess, represents the first half of the image that will be generated, and again we enter the break keyword over here, and the last prompt represents the second half of the image that we will be creating. So in this case it's a robotic girl, and here I have also entered a negative prompt. I'm using sampling method as Euler A, sampling steps at 30, width and height are set at 512 and 768, and I will be removing the seed as of now. And this is the image in the ControlNet that we entered before. Now let's come to the various settings that we see over here. So I have already activated it. Generation mode I will be using at latent because with this I am getting better results. 0.2 is a number that represents that how much influence the base prompt will have over the entire image. So by default this is set at 0.2. If you want, you can set it at 0.3 or 0.4 or 0.5. If you enter this at 1, then image will be generated depending upon the base prompt only, and these two sections of the prompt will have no influence on the image. So you have to tick mark use base prompt check mark over here, then only the base prompt will be considered. And use common prompt is unchecked by default, and we will keep it unchecked because we don't want to use a common prompt. We want a base prompt and we want different sections of the prompt which will represent different sections of the image. So split mode can be horizontal and vertical, and we can also visualize it. So if we keep split mode at horizontal, then image will be divided horizontally. And if I keep it at vertical, then image will be divided vertically, and 0 will represent the first section of the prompt, that is this section of the prompt, and 1 will represent this section of the prompt. So in our particular image, I want a horizontal split. And if we click on this visualize and make template button, then it will show a visualization of the image that we are generating. Another thing we can do is set the divide ratio. So as of now, the divide ratio is set at 1,1. This means that this section of the prompt will influence 50% of the image, and this section of the prompt will influence the other 50% of the image. And if we want, we can set it in some other value also. So we can set it at 0.2 and 0.8. Let's visualize it. So in this particular divide ratio, this particular section of the prompt will influence 20% of the image, and this particular section will influence the 80% of the image. We can also do one more thing over here, that I can write 111 over here. I can write break over here and write another section of a prompt over here. When we do this, the image will be distributed in 3 sections now. The first section of the prompt will influence this section. The second section of the prompt will influence this section, and third section of the prompt will influence this section. If you want, we can add one more one here. Now the image is divided into 4 sections, and we can keep on adding it. Now image is divided into 5 sections. But in our image, I just want 2 sections over here. All other settings, I will keep it at default. One more thing I want to talk about, that I want to use a common negative prompt. For that, I will check on this particular button. Now I have done all the settings. Let's click on generate. So this is the image that we got. As we can see that this is half robot and half Indian princess. One thing you will notice over here, that even after entering the base prompt, there is slight influence of these prompts on the background. So here we can see some hues of the color of dress on the background here in this section of the image, and here we can see some hues of the color of the robot on this section of the image in the background. So I have said before that you need to enter a ControlNet image before generating this image, and let's see what happens if I disable it. And let's click on generate again. So without ControlNets, as we can see, this is the image that we got. Yes, there are sections of Indian princess and sections of robot over here, but this was not the kind of image that I wanted. Now let's see what happens when we set this at vertical. In this case, this section of the prompt will represent upper half, and this section of the prompt will represent the lower half. Let's click on generate. So this is the image we got, in which the upper half is a princess now and lower half is a robot. This image also looks good, but I think this image will look better if we slightly change the ratio over here. Let's keep it at 0.7 and 0.3. One more thing I noticed, that eyes are a bit messed up over here, so I will enter a negative prompt to improve the eyes. Now let's click on generate. So this is the result we got, and I think this result looks much better. So this is another image I generated, which is half Mystique character from X-Men and half is a woman. This is a close-up version in which again we have the Mystique character, and in another part of the image there is an Indian woman. This is another image I have created where I have mixed 2 different dresses of women in one, and in this particular image, instead of dividing the image in 2 sections, I had divided the image into 3 sections. And now there are 4 sections in the prompt. First one is the base prompt. Second line represents the first section. Third line represents the second section. And the last line represents the final section. So as you can see, you can mix and match images in lots and lots of different ways. This is the power of regional prompter. With this, we come to the end of this video. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more such videos.